Alright, I'm sick of this. For the most part, I really like WandaVision, but it's got a huge problem in my eyes that is trying to be brushed under the rug because of ungrateful fans. Yo, it's your boy Hizzy. H to the Izzy! And there are spoilers naturally for what I'm about to talk about. WandaVision is a show that completely won me over in episode 1 because of its interesting premise, the reverence to its homages, and finally making me actually care about Wanda Maximoff and Vision. In Infinity War, I remember Cap saying something like, "No man left behind," and I was like, come on, it's Vision.
If he dies, he dies.
It's a stoic robot that no one really cares about. However, now if I go back and watch the MCU, it seemingly has added way more context and importance for these characters in this universe. Doing a show that is, to quote the fans, about Wanda's grief is great and an interesting idea. And for the most part, I can see why the fans who love this are mad at the small amount of people who were disappointed because they wanted, I don't know, the Devil, Magneto, Professor X, Fantastic Four, Ant-Man, and
then Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White and Monty Python and the Holy Grail's Black Knight.
Which I totally get. For the most part, a lot of the theories were made up out of thin air that don't necessarily make sense for what they're trying to do here. Which leads me to the biggest of problems, the Quicksilver dilemma. Because I believe this is the surge that caused fans to go insane with theories once Evan Peters was revealed to be in the show as a recast Quicksilver.
Long lost bro, get to squeeze his stinking sister to death or what?
This led to rampant speculation with WandaVision possibly paving the way to the multiverse that will almost assuredly be the focus in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But Quicksilver was eventually just reduced to a boner joke?
Bohner alert!
Which I take huge issue with, because while a lot of the rage over unrealistic theories not coming true, this is one that was trotted out by the show itself. Like, I completely get the Paul Bettany cameo was really himself. I actually find it pretty funny, mostly because on top of that, double Paul Bettany was actually fantastic, but even more so, Paul Bettany teasing a cameo isn't in the actual show. Same with Elizabeth Olsen saying there would be a Luke Skywalker level cameo. That's not in the actual show. And what was she supposed to say? Oh, no, our show's actually boring and has nothing in it.
Huh?
Of course not. However, the Evan Peters situation is very, very different. It wasn't just teased that he would show up. He actually did appear as his character in the X-Men universe. Not only was this the character that was one of the best parts in the new X-Men line, but it was Fox beating Marvel at their own game. Pretty much everyone agrees they prefer Peter's Quicksilver to Pietro. I don't know. To me, the fact I know Disney purchased all of Fox and their first move was to squash any and all ideas that the X-Men actors would show up with a dismissive boner joke of all things felt like the school bully picking on some random kid just trying to get to math class.
Already dead.
And a lot of people are throwing out, well, it was a red herring for theories, which, great, yes, you're right. But the problem is you can't throw out a red herring that's so tantalizing and quite frankly better than what we got. I made this analogy on the podcast that this is basically like showing up to a kindergarten class and telling the kids, hey, it's cupcake day, and then later bringing out grapes instead. Only to tell these children that they really should have tempered their expectations a little. Like, you showed us the cool thing in a show that was supposed to be about Wanda's grief, only to give a pretty stupid payoff that also gives so many more questions on a witch's power set that can literally conjure a super speed metahuman. In that department, it just felt like such a waste of time. Like, I loved Quicksilver being a dopey uncle, but now it's just some random guy who won't be brought up ever again? I get people saying Marvel doesn't always need to do fan service, but this is literal fan disservice. Imagine if in Infinity War, Thanos showed up and he was just some random guy that really loved skateboarding and wanted to challenge Tony Hawk in the X Games, but also a selective group of fans said, well, you should have lowered your expectations a little bit better. Obviously, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic. A more apt example would be defending the Ice King in Game of Thrones, which would be pretty freaking goofy for people to do. It just seems like there's people really ready to give Marvel a pass, doing a bad job at managing expectations, because they love the show so much. People are mad that fans are disappointed in the finale, which, again, I liked, and for the most part, most people liked. But I think bringing Peters into the show created a lot more intrigue, and Marvel knew what they were doing. If, say, Dylan O'Brien, for instance, showed up as Quicksilver, literally no one would care in terms of crazy theories. Yes, we thirst over Dylan O'Brien, but it would still be the same structure to it, but without the oh my god level reveal. But you chose to have that earth-shattering reveal. This isn't Mephisto. Fans didn't make this out of nowhere. If you step on an anthill, don't be surprised when chaos ensues afterwards.
Who killed Hannah?
Also, while I have y'all in my little complaint corner, I think a lot of issues come down to the pacing and structure, because this show really is all over the place with what it's doing. The episode with sword flashbacks are carried by Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy, but I could care less about Hayward and co, who is really one of the most boring and sinister for the sake of sinister villains out there, that on paper, he makes some good points, but really they just keep hammering, hey, he's evil, like he tries to shoot literal children and one of his co-workers. I also think they really could have trimmed down episode 7 that really just boils down to Wanda reflecting that she's crazy, which, yeah, we already knew. But I mean, this is their first installment to the 6-hour story structure, so I'm not too surprised that there was a little bit mismanagement on time. I think the biggest miss is probably Monica Rambeau, who's most definitely going to be in Captain Marvel 2, who was the biggest defender of Wanda that is reduced to like 60 seconds of screen time in the last episode. Like, I wanted to feel something in this last scene with her and Wanda, but it just doesn't feel completely earned, and I hate shot reverse shot. Another complaint that doesn't really have to deal with the actual show, but so many people are defending this that people are disappointed. This show's doing pretty well. People are talking about it. I feel like there's this new counterculture that's, oh, we have to talk about the negative people. You're giving them more of a voice when you do so. Like, if you like the show, just share that you like the show, not the rampant fans that probably make up 2%, maybe, of the fans that have watched this show. Also, final complaint, again, I like this show, I swear. But again, a lot of people are praising it as being new and different, which for the most part, I agree with. Until the last episode where it devolves into, bitch, you guessed it! Same versus same fighting each other, which is fine with me. I'm cool with the MCU formula, but come on! Anyway, that's all I got on WandaVision and the supposed internet ruining this show. Because hey, not everything's perfect, and that's fine. It's okay to criticize things. And if you loved WandaVision, feel free to let me know. I'll read it. I will read every comment. Unfortunately, I see all of them. Because I'm insane. Later, haters.